ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being patient with us. We appreciate that. It is now, we'll call it 15 after 6, a little bit more than that, but quarter after 6. Payson City Council meeting for May 15th, 2024. I will say the prayer, opening prayer for this meeting. More than evidence, we come before thee, my sons and daughters, citizens of Payson. Thankful for many blessings we have, especially living here in Payson and Utah and being part of the United States of America. We're thankful, Father, that there are citizens here to listen and to participate in this city council meeting. Please help us as council and as citizens to continue to make Payson City the hometown that it is, and the friendly town that we want it to be. Help us make good decisions, Father. We say this in the Christ. Amen. Council, I have volunteered to say that pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to C, consent agenda, approval of the May 1st, 2024 City Council minutes. Any discussion on this approval? I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I motion that we approve the consent agenda and the May 1st, 2024 City Council meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Starting with Council Wyatt.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Rowley.
Yes.
Council Healy.
Yes.
And Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Going on to petitions, Chamber Business, Employee or Community Service Award. Diane. Thank you.
I'll bet you're glad to have that parking lot there.
It's so nice.
It looks nice.
It really is. It's wonderful to have that back. That was a good day in my life, I'll say. So I am presenting tonight the Community Service Award. The person we're giving it to is a woman that lives in Santaquin, but the service she gives helps us all. She'll be presented the award at Santaquin's meeting next week. So the Payson Santaquin Chamber of Commerce is pleased to recognize Hillary Owens as our April Community Service Award recipient. From online interactions to community events, Hillary's dedication to serving her neighbors in Santaquin and Payson shines through everything she does. As the moderator of the Santaquin Community Facebook page, Hillary fosters a positive and informative online space for residents to connect. Her impact goes beyond the digital realm. She champions our community by publishing a quarterly mailer that highlights local businesses. It's her way of ensuring our town thrives by supporting its backbone, the small business owners. Hillary's boundless energy is contagious. She spearheaded the hugely successful Young Entrepreneur Night at the Hometown Market last year, providing a platform for young minds with big dreams, and is helping to run 2 similar nights this year. Her passion doesn't stop there. Hillary's dedication to her family, involvement in Santaquin's Christmas on Main Street, coaching youth t-ball and soccer, and participation in numerous church and school activities paint a picture of a true community champion. Hillary's friendly spirit and unwavering optimism and dedication to making our community a better place are all truly inspiring. So we're excited to present that award for April to Hillary Owens. Those of you who are in the community, we need people to tell us who you see serving in the community, because once a quarter we will be giving out one of these community service awards. So make sure that you contact Jim Rowland, President and CEO of the Chamber, or myself. I'm the Chairman of the board, and we just would like to know who's serving in the community that would be good to give an award to like this. So thank you. That's all we have tonight.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks.
Thank you.
moving on to number 2, discussion regarding Utah Lake Authority. Dave?
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
Okay. Council, okay to deviate from the agenda.
So.
On favor?
Second it? Yes.
Okay, on favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful, we'll move on. Number 3, legislative updates. Jason, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
As you are all aware, the legislative session started after, let's say President's Day, but it was not. Holiday. And then went for 45 days and ended on March 1st. So I'm just gonna give you a quick overview. If you want any more detail, come see me. I can point you in the right direction, or I can walk you through. Some of these bills are more complicated than others, and I'm trying not to bore you too much. In years past, and some of the ones who've been on here a while know that in years past, occasionally they get very mundane, not fun to listen to, and I understand that it's not the funnest thing to listen to, but unfortunately we have to abide by these laws sometimes that we work through law. It was another record year. There were 940 bills opened this year, and 591 of those were passed. It's an insane number, and it seems to be every year they just keep going up. In the last like maybe 4 or 5 years that I remember, they just keep going up in number from all sorts of different things. So
Probably a good thing it only lasts 45 days, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. If we had a full year, we would have some problems for sure. House bills we'll start with. House Bill 13, you probably heard a little bit about this. It's a new financing tool that developers can now use. It's effect May 1st. Most of these bills went into effect May 1st. But this bill actually creates a financing tool wherein they can get a bond, they get it on the bond market, wherein they can get lower interest rates, and then allows them to put in infrastructure. It can be only used for infrastructure, and it must be paid off before they can, for each individual lot, prior to occupancy or certificate of occupancy being issued by the city. We do not have any control over these like we do with PIDs. These are totally separate animal. The only control we have is to make sure the infrastructure meets our guidelines and that we don't give a certificate of occupancy until everything's been checked off and we get a statement that says that there is no encumbrance on that particular lot. House Bill 25, I'll just go quickly through this one. Electronic notaries are now allowed. Some counties use them, some don't. But once you start an electronic process for notary, you must stay that way all the way through filing level. This kind of thing. Candidate and officer holder disclosures. This is kind of new. So you, some of you may be aware of this, and some of you not. Normally, you would have to file, if you have a conflict of interest with any business that you're part of, you would have to file that with the city, with the recorder, and with sometimes in some cases with the mayor. Now there's going to be an annual report requirement that you will have to file it annually, whether you change positions or jobs or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. And those will be now filed with and put on the state website with the lieutenant governor's office. House Bill 107 is a recycling facility transparency. All this basically requires is us as the city to publish the reports that we get from the recycling each year. And maybe we get quarterly or whatever, but whenever we get it, we must publish it. Just so everybody knows that how well or not well that the recycling is.
That one of those bills.
It might be, I don't actually have the bill with me, but I think you might be right. House Bill 188 is building permits. That is simply, it prevents the city from changing a building permit once it's issued or revoking a building permit once it's issued. Apparently, in some of the bills you'll notice are done because of perhaps bad actors somewhere. I will admit that Payson has not been one of those, but there are some cities that are. And unfortunately, this is one of those things that they have to put it in law. It was technically a written rule anyway, unwritten rule, because we generally wouldn't change it once it's issued. House Bill 257, bathroom privacy bill. This one mainly applies to schools. However, there is a small part that applies to cities, and that is changing rooms. For current facilities, we only have to consider retrofitting, and because retrofitting is generally highly expensive, we will probably not do that. For new builds, we must include single changing rooms, single occupancy changing rooms, which would be planned if we were keeping. And then we have to create a policy with that plan. A little bit more to this. So, many of you saw the news yesterday, but apparently there's been a whole bunch of complaints because all the complaints that get filed end up going to the state auditor's office. He got inundated with thousands of complaints yesterday. So, just so you know, most of the time, the way we're supposed to teach staff is that if staff receives a complaint, they have to call the police. And that's basically if somebody that is not of the same gender as the changing room that can go into the opposite gender's changing room without sort of any sort of indication that they should be in there, the bill basically makes it. It doesn't make it a crime necessarily, but there could be crimes attached to it. So the case would be called the head situation. House Bill 288, basically cities are not required to pay rollback taxes when we buy green property these anymore. As long as we hold that property for 5 years before selling it, we do not have to pay in lieu fee to Pitt County. But we would not have to pay that as long as we keep the property. We buy it initially. House Bill 289, property rights ombudsman. This one is a little tricky in the sense of we haven't done a whole lot. We've had a couple of claims at the ombudsman's office. But this one basically says if you decide to go beyond whatever the ombudsman's office has decided, you take it to court, because that will be your next step. If you lose in court and the ombudsman, if you lose, in other words, you're fighting it because let's say it's the city, it's an adverse judgment against us from opinion from the ombudsman's office. We take it to court. If we lose, We have to pay attorney's fees. We have to pay consequential damages, and if it was done in bad faith, which that may be greater. We could be having to pay a civil penalty as well. So it could get pretty pricey. So the league's caution to cities now is be very cautious with these. Most of the months since I've been here have been favorable to us. So there could come a time when that comes up. House Bill 311 is lane filtering. The only thing I'm gonna say with this is if you see a motorcycle coming up between the cars on and off ramp, don't be alarmed, it is legal now. The 476 municipal land use regulations, this is LUDMA. This simply is, there was a provision last year in the legislature that required development agreements to have a warning. This says basically that we as the city encourage you, because you're waiving certain rights, that you should go talk to council. Most development agreements come because there's an opposing attorney on the other side. That's most of the reason. But there are some reasons that they want. But that was taken, we no longer have to worry about that anymore because the idea is most of them have an attorney. The other thing that's major in this bill, there's quite a few changes, but the major one is rear setbacks can now have window wells and or landings coming. So the 25-foot setback, we normally wouldn't let anything in, now we can. So you'll see there'll be a lot more plans submitted with houses that encroach, at least with window wells or landings or something. Senate bills, affordable housing. So if you remember, the legislative theme at the beginning of this was the bathroom bill of the legislative session. Midway through was affordable housing and affordable things like that. And then the latter part of it was the baseball and hockey stadiums and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about, because none of that stuff has to do with us, we're going to talk about the affordable housing bills. Several of them are in the Senate bills. 168 just talks about Utah has now adopted affordable, modular housing requirements. There were some just basic building code requirements, but this was specifically, they tried to create some sort of plans. You know, when these manufacturers from out of state create these homes and then bring them in state and set them up, then what do we do? We want to make sure that people are safe when they move in.
Well, they have a definition of what modular.
Yeah, it does. I don't know what that one actually says. That description says what it is.
It doesn't have a permanent chassis under it.
Is that what it is?
And even if someone has a permanent foundation, is it still a modular home?
If it has a permanent chassis. Well, if it's a permanent chassis, then it's a manufactured home. It's a modular home, it just goes to the foundation of the chassis.
Modular homes are the ones that they're prefab, they're not trailers, they're prefab.
It looks like a house.
Yeah, they come in on it.
They're just in pieces and
Yeah,
they're
they just-
assembled on site. Senate Bill 91, this is, you'll notice right before our final budget hearing in August, you'll notice there's another hearing. This bill requires a separate public hearing for officers, executive municipal officers' compensation increase. I believe the city's plan is to do that, but because the idea this year is most of it's gonna be- or at least that's what. 185 residential building inspections. This bill had several iterations throughout the session. Finally, it came to one we could live with. that is that a developer, after 3 days, and that's the normal code requirement for an inspection. After the 3 days, the developer can select from a list of inspectors. So this would be a third-party inspector. Those inspections come from a list that we compile, or a group of cities compile. So it could be us, Salem, Spanish Fork, Santa Clara. It could be us. I think in most areas in the state, there's probably the city's cost. You don't have to.
Time that 3 day.
Yeah, most of the time we hear
3 day
it.
period.
This one is another result of bad actors. In reality, what I understood from the bad actors was simply it was somebody was sick, somebody wasn't there, it was missed barely, really. But understandably, if this gives a way for them to select somebody, but it's from a certain. This is the HTRZ zone. This is just, basically, what they wanted to do is make these more to accept affordable housing. So the idea was to increase the affordable housing threshold from 10% to 12% of the dwelling units within the 12%. Then 9% of those have to be households with a median income of 80% of the area median income or the AMI. 3% of those dwelling units must be reserved for households earning 60% of AMI. If an HTRZ is multiple phases, proportionate amount of affordable housing must be built in each phase. And a municipality may also require more affordable housing to be built in earlier phases. I mean, stick them all in phase 10 and maybe not ever get to phase 10. So that was the idea, that we can say, no, you need them earlier phases. This only applies to that HTRZ zone, and that is the transit zone, which we'll talk about later.
Jason, just to backtrack on the building inspecting bill, do they still have to comply with our building codes,
Yes.
even these third parties, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they would be on the list, because they will comply. Plus, they have to be certified and all that stuff too. My final one, like I said, there were hundreds of other bills, but a lot of them are criminal related, so nothing you guys have to be worried about. And then some things apply to the state of Utah, some things apply to Salt Lake City in particular, some things apply to counties. But this one is the last one. This is creation of a first home investment zone. You probably heard about this right at the very beginning of the session. The governor came out and said he'd like to see, I don't remember the number, first-time homes for first-time home buyers. We have a big problem of trying to housing for anybody to afford, at least. So they nicknamed this called FIZ, and basically what it does is it allows for people that are first-time home buyers to get into new homes. These also go with the HTRZ zone, and there's a bunch of zones that can mix in with these, but these can be built just about anywhere. Most of these homes are going to be fairly small, 1,400 square feet or less. They're going to be in the price range that high. Going to be $400,000 or $500,000 homes. These are going to be less, so that people that are maybe fresh out of college or starting a new family have the ability to buy
would not have to be all of the same subdivision.
No, these can be mixed in any zone, as long as they meet, I mean, we might have to modify some of the zones. But they could be, you could stick them all in one zone, you could.
But hope we would.
I would say let's go, if we can mix them in other zones, let's do it.
So is there a certain amount of time that they stay at this home, or do they?
I believe it's 5 years.
Okay, so they do graduate out, so do they?
Yeah, and they have penalties and stuff too, if you somehow.
So it's similar to like the self-help program that they have, that
Yes.
instead of a 30-year mortgage, they put them in a 40-year mortgage, brings them monthly house payment down, they have to be in it for 5 years kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think, I wanna say this one said.
deed restricted for 5.
Yeah, it's deed restricted. And the deed restriction will be, has to be a first time home buyer, has to be this, yeah. Because the idea was, or the worry was, that somehow somebody would come in, just smack out all these and then. The idea that, I mean, as we see right now, that's what's happening. Is homes are being rented out by companies.
I wouldn't mind seeing these as deed restricted forever, that they couldn't be rented. Because that's exactly what they'll do. They'll come in here, they'll build 20 of these, own them for 5 years, and then the people that are in them will just move out into their second home and then rent it.
Well, the idea is to, I mean, don't get me wrong, but the idea is in most, at least with most people, just getting their own home, first of all, is wonderful.
Yeah.
Then the second hurdle is, okay, I want a bigger family, so I need a bigger place. I mean, 1,400 square feet is kitchen. I mean, it's
Gives
nothing.
them the opportunity to build some.
200 square feet bigger than mine.
Yeah, I mean, yes, homes, for sure, they're not meant for a family of 10. I mean, you could certainly fit a family of 10 if you wanted to in there, but the idea would be after so many years, 5 years at least, that they would probably move out and move to something bigger. Right.
But I'm getting, Robert back there understands what I'm saying. This is somebody fresh out of college, they'll go get their first house, and then we're gonna end up with all these rentals.
Yeah, well.
Well, I think that's part of home ownership. That's part of the American dream. If you can keep real estate and do what you want with your property, I think that's.
Yeah, but see, the problem is that we have is, that's why I've been pushing for years to have a good landlord program. Our police officers spend a lot more time on rental homes. And they go there and people don't own the house, it's hard to get a hold of them, you're trying to figure out who it is because the mortgage is under somebody else's name. For the people that are staying there, they're not designed as rentals, they're designed as homeowner occupied. And so it causes a problem as a city for us to maintain, keep track of all that. We default, we've never had to do it yet, but at the end of every year, we get to the budget and they say, hey, we need to throw $50,000 down the toilet because renters have come in, stayed in these homes and left, and that's who has.
Well, and most of that is all utility.
Utility based, they're not paying the utilities, and so we have to eat the cost of them, so we're trying to figure out ways to overcome. This is after spending.
The bills are sent to the landlords after a time, and they're on the hook.
There's some problems we just won't be able to solve.
I know.
Well, it depends. I mean, we've had, a lot of times what our policy's been is we turn it over to collections. But sometimes the collections company can't get the time to do that. I mean, there are people,
That's
it's
where my.
mainly companies, like big investment companies, that they own these things that we just can't find it.
But it's really hard to put a deed restriction on it, correct?
Right, I mean, you can in some circumstances, and we haven't, to my knowledge, we haven't had anybody come and approach us about any of this stuff yet. But, the league has asked that if we do, that we contact them, because we would like, they would like to help us. Any city that starts getting requests.
So here's my argument with this, is that it is part of the American dream to have that rental and to make that income, but it's also, we're creating bill after bill after bill to try to bring that housing to make it affordable for people to own it. And if we make it affordable to fulfill the dream of owning rental properties, we're exacerbating the problem. It just gets worse and worse and worse because they can't actually own.
I don't think the American dream is to own rental properties.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, I know,
Your
but,
business dream.
but you're right. But if people realize that this is a good way,
But-
But regardless, we have no control.
that's just.
Jason, I have a question.
Sure.
Does this restrict what kind of homes? Does it have to be a single family home? Does it have to be a town, can it be townhomes?
I think it
Can
can
it
be
be row
townhomes.
townhomes?
I think it can be townhomes, it just simply has to be owner occupied.
It even encourages mixed use development,
That can,
encourage strategic and efficient land use. These are high density. Right there, they're using words to make you feel like it's not, but that's, and I don't know, I just foresee a problem in the picture.
Well,
I'm not opposed to providing, I think it's a great program. I think there's 19 self-help homes within 3 blocks of my house.
Which are
They're
good homes.
great people, they move in, they do it, they're deed restricted, it takes them a while longer, their house payments are down. It's great, I love the idea of it, but it makes me nervous that if they're just building a smaller house, that's what it's gonna do.
and the way. So if it's from the state. or from-
Right.
But we don't have, and I will admit that our legislators are pretty good to answer. Try during the session call. But, Mike McCall. No, sorry. I had called, if any of you had called, our legislators, Mike McCall and Doug Welton are pretty good. They do handle, if we ask them to handle something, they will for us. Now, it's one voice, and what you hope is that you can get them to contact all their buddies up there and change everything. But until that is changed the next year or the year after, it stays law.
I'm just glad they didn't require us to put them all in one place, because that'd be problematic.
But I think it's a fallacy to think we can legislate ourselves out of this issue. We can't.
Well, I don't think that's totally the answer, but once it's law, it's law. And so if someone comes in and asks for it, he then probably have to start looking at it.
I agree, we're not gonna legislate ourselves.
Affordable, it's just unaffordable. There's nothing we can, the free market has driven it that way, and we need to build more single family homes to try to bring down that cost, but, that's.
I agree.
And it's, but
That's
it's,
not
this
the
is a great
apps
way.
we put into law.
I
That's
agree.
not gonna-
and it comes down to the builders. They're gonna build whatever they make money on, and so this provides them another avenue to do such, so.
Well, I can tell you this, next year, probably they're going to be a lot more. So that's where we start. We try
Mhm.
to change them around there, try to figure something out.
But she said 2 weeks ago that 254,000 and 354,000 homes
Already slated to be built.
that we're behind on.
Paper.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I think
them out
that's,
there that are already approved.
I think that's an exaggeration.
I think so.
I don't think it's that big.
Yeah.
I wanna say it was,
35,000 is the number.
those are entitled homes.
No, 35,000 is the.
The
that's the
divisions.
But that doesn't include like all the new people coming up that, like the people who get married.
That's as of today.
Okay.
That's as of.
And what kind of homes are those? Are those,
Any
are we
type
in a
of
deficit
dwelling-
of,
Any type of dwelling.
it doesn't limit it to new homes?
No, it could be, it's just the inventory that we lack because of either people moving in or people getting married or that kind of thing. We are down 35,000 statewide.
I'm curious to know what it was in 2007. The last time the
Probably
economy
farther
crashed like
less
that.
than
I'm just curious.
I would guess less, but
Because
I
it was
don't
hard
know.
to find homes back then too.
I think 2 years ago, the Gardner Institute said we were 54,000 short, now it's like 32. it's getting better, but the problem is, I think, looking around at all the cities, there's probably 130,000 homes in Utah County that are entitled, that are just not being built.
Well, it's because the demand is not there right now.
Well, and the
It's just
interest
not.
rates are up and the
Yep,
profits are down a little bit, so we can't control that either.
right.
Well, we can't legislate our way out.
But there's plenty of homes to be built.
Somebody's homes to buy.
There are
Right
more
now,
homes
right?
on the market right now than there have been in the last 3 years.
But is there any,
Well, it may not be that you don't want them, but the value of that home
they're
may
not
just shoot
affordable,
past.
or they're not where they wanna be, there's just something,
Right.
you know.
There may be a number of factors
We
like
can't
that,
solve
so,
the world problem.
but yeah,
Trying to solve one.
I know.
Travis is.
Yeah, any questions or anything? Like I said, if you have any questions about any of the bills, you can come see me and I'll walk you through it.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Jason.
Dave, you ready?
Yes, sorry, I was trying to find my notes there, but I would ask the council to table out on the Utah Lake Authority. The reason is Luke Peterson's the new general manager of that association. He asked me if he could come and address council. That's why we put it on the agenda. I don't have his cell number, but I emailed him, haven't heard, but apparently he, if you want to text him, see if he's coming, we can do it later, but that was the reason we put it on. He wanted to come and address the council just about the new authority.
Must have something come up.
Yeah, I just didn't have a way to text him real quick, but if Brian can and he's here, we can just keep going on the agenda. If he comes, we'll do it. If he doesn't show up, we'll reschedule for the next meeting.
We've already amended the agenda, so that's
Yeah.
not a problem. Okay, moving on, go to number 4, public forum. Anyone can speak on, something that's not on the agenda. Please be cognizant of your time and let us know who you are, and we'll go ahead and open the public forum. Good to see you again.
Hello, I'm Sarah Ogden. I am back with an update on the Bonneville Shoreline Trail with their 2023 status report, which they came out with last month. So I just wanted to update you on that. So for a recap, for the last 30 or so years, a little more than that, the Bonneville Shoreline Trail has been emerging piece by piece by piece because it's owned by so many different property owners. There are currently 400 plus miles of potential trail planned. They added 23 miles last year, which was the most they've ever added. There are grant programs available to help with trail building if we wanted to do that. Many cities are coming up with master plans, including the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. I got in contact with the guys who wrote this status report, and they said, I believe it was Elk Ridge, they have just barely planned this and they want to hook it up with Payson. They want to make sure that we're connecting that nicely. Nonprofits have been helping purchase land for the BST, Bonneville Shoreline Trail. There's a video documentary series on YouTube called State of the BST. And I'm going to skip over a lot of this, but they have an update of each county in Utah, how they have built the trail throughout the last year. Payson has 0 miles completed. So I'm just hoping we can.
We've got a lot of, in the works of getting funding for
Oh,
repairing
wonderful.
trails and to, do studies for more.
Okay, that's excellent. And I have reached out to Carrie Pierce, who was working on the Four Bay Trail.
He's still with
System.
us.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I reached out to him. He said the tricky part would probably be just, the city getting the private landowners to cooperate,
Finding the funding as well.
funding as well. So I'm reaching out to people hoping we can make this a reality, and I've made a copy of this for each of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jill, on our Trails Committee, is that by application or how do we put people on our Trails Committee?
It's my.
Thank you, Sarah.
When's that?
But Sarah sent me some information, so
Okay.
it's something that we will discuss.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, she sent me a lot of great
We
information, probably a
also-
lot of it that you're seeing now.
We also work with the Mountain Land Association of Governments with trail, whether needed, help us with some financing as well. anyone else? Come on up, sir.
Thanks, sir. I have two printouts here, so I bring it on for everyone. So there's two items I'd like to discuss today. My name is Kurt Leonard, resident of Payson. I want to speak today regarding the flow of traffic between 800 South freeway off-ramps and South Payson. I previously contacted the Payson police about a high volume of cars traveling through these small neighborhood streets instead of using the main roads. Often speeds exceeding 35 miles an hour, 25, especially coming down the hill on 1550 South as printed on the map there. However, it appears that increased traffic enforcement is not addressing the cause of the traffic. I'd like to ask for your help in evaluating the situation and possible remediation. As again shown on the map, when a driver is traveling to South Payson or Spring Lake area from I-15 on 800 South, the main roads that would lead them along eastbound 800 South to the intersection of Highway 198 and then down 198 would cause them to pass through three traffic signals and 2 school zones. So it seems like commonly drivers are turning south on 930 west and then east on 1550 south to avoid the traffic signals, to avoid the school zones, and it shaves 1.5 minutes mile off their trip. They often drive these routes at speeds much faster than 25, including going through a couple of intersections near playgrounds and a walking path. I'd like to request a traffic study be done to determine the volume of cars traveling along these small residential streets. And if it's determined that the number of vehicles passing through the area is beyond what is expected for the area, then I would also request the traffic mitigation measures be implemented. They could be as simple as a couple of stop signs just to deter people coming through, and also as a way for law enforcement to maybe make more stops. Other measures could include adding a median barrier along SR 198, so there's not a left turn available when driving northbound towards the 800 South freeway ramp. It also would be a good idea to crosswalk at some of these larger intersections, such as 1400 South, 930 West. I've noticed several school children in the afternoons nearly being hit by cars from drivers going too fast along these roads, and then they turn left up 1550 South to connect to the highway. So I've written a tentative resolution. I won't read it here, but it basically covers everything I just said.
And then if you're willing to part with that issue. This is where your problems are going up.
So the first paper is the kind of the narrative story. The second paper is just
Certainly willing to, try to address some of those concerns. It's probably a constant thing as well. Some of the things, road we're talking about are state highways. We got very 800 South is state highways.
So it's 198.
Yeah, that's what 198 is as well, which is around 1400 South, but we certainly are.
With the way the map looked, if you were to throw 3 stop signs in there, right at that intersection, that the only people that would be affected are those that are traveling through that, it would definitely, I'm sure, a lot.
We certainly can take a look at that, and it's a surveys that are necessary. Sometimes we do surveys, we want the speed limits to come down. The survey actually shows that they need to go up. So
okay.
anyhow, we'll be glad to do that.
Sure. That'd be fantastic.
And I got this for you, Travis. Thanks.
Yeah, I can hang counters on Monday and.
Okay.
I mean,
Perfect.
not a problem.
Okay.
Just let me know what intersections.
And that's why I asked it for the papers, because so you can hang them there.
Actually, the place survey, that software we have, we can go in and do traffic for the last 2 years and everything, so I can get with you on that.
And
You got a second when you say?
being aware of my time, I'll try to be brief.
Yeah,
But
please.
the second item, sorry. These are some images of just Payson in general. We'll just read this away, look at those. This is more of just a resolution. So whereas the city of Payson, Utah has undergone significant transformation over the past 10 years with a population growth rate 40 times higher than the national average, citation at the bottom, and the construction of numerous high-density housing units, with further significant changes ahead with the announcement of a new college campus and high-speed train station. Whereas the rapid urbanization and development within the town have led to concerns among residents regarding the preservation of its rural and cultural heritage, as well as the loss of community identity, as recorded in a recent Frontrunner Station survey from UTA. And whereas the imposition of regulations by homeowners associations prohibiting residents from displaying certain symbols of their pioneer and farming heritage further exacerbates these concerns and limits residents' ability to express their identity and values. Whereas the Payson City sign features a wagon wheel in the center with the slogan, "Preserve America, explore and enjoy our heritage," a reminder to residents and visitors to honor and remember the pioneer history and the cultural heritage of the city. Whereas the Payson City Center, City Hall has an original pioneer cabin displayed and preserved, as well as a walking tour of landmarks for residents and visitors. And recognizing the decline of patriotism among the rising generation, citation at the bottom, and a loss of national identity and pride, as well as a decline in unity among persons of differing backgrounds and cultures. Be it hereby resolved, that Payson City enacts an ordinance, this is again, tentative resolution, enacts an ordinance to permit residents to erect or install flagpoles, flag brackets, or flag mounts on their properties for the purpose of flying the American flag as a symbol of patriotism and unity, without requiring consent from any governing body, provided they comply with Payson City Ordinance 19.9.24, dictating the height of flagpoles. Residents shall be allowed to display rural decorations such as antique farm and ranch equipment, create landscaping representative of the town's pioneer and cultural heritage without requiring consent from governing bodies, provided they are in conformance with applicable city ordinances and resolutions. The photos just kind of show the heritage of Payson, and I feel like we should be able to put that stuff in our yard if we want to.
So we'd love to consider that.
Thank you.
These are recorders, you guys know that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
My name's Carla Gregerson and I'm from Payson. I don't know if this is, I'm a bus, I ride the bus and sometimes I stand in the cold and stuff. And I'm just asking, can I have some shelter over it?
Most of those areas are controlled by the state, and we can suggest, but it's.
There's the guy to talk to right there in the blue shirt in the middle.
That guy right there as well.
Yeah. We certainly can take a look at that, and there are some that are out there, and it'll be a funding issue, and we can sort of take a look. Okay, anyone else in here in the council chambers? Okay, Kim, is there anybody online? We'll go ahead and close the public forum and move on to staff reports. Anybody on staff would like to come talk to us? I need you anyway.
Mayor and council, I just want to tell you about the next two events we're going to have before we have another city council. So Memorial Day is May 27th. That's at the cemetery at 9:30 in the morning. It's a very nice program. It runs about 40 minutes. And I didn't quite receive the email of the program yet, but they always do a very nice job. And then also Adventure Day will be June 1st. And this year the time will be between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So it's very similar to last year's where people can sign up for their adventure. We have different adventures you can sign up for online. And this year we're going to have inflatables, large inflatables. So that's what we're trying to come up with, things that would stay every year so people are used to that when they come. So we'll have several inflatables on that back grass where the carnival usually sits. The businesses love this event. I've almost doubled in business vendors. So what those are is they can come for free and they just market their business. They can't sell anything, but they usually have little games for people to play. And we have a game where if they go and see all these vendors, check it off, then they come back to the information booth and receive a prize. So the businesses are getting on board with this. They love it. It's a great time to market your business. So we'll have a couple of food trucks and some snow cones there too. People can purchase. There's also a park to park challenge this year. So they can do the adventure where they can go to the swimming pool and hit a couple of other parks. It's a mile. So, and I'll have maps for people if they want to continue their adventure. We have a really fun, Mark Carone does a lot of all my banners and stuff, and he's created a huge shark through the walk path from 800 South from, is it Hollow Park? What are those two parks, Carl? Hollow Park, and then there's that smaller one. So so when you go up to it, it's this huge shark with his teeth, and then you go through the tube under the ground, and then we're gonna have different things that the shark ate. So I'm really gonna promote that too. I have Teresa and Ann and Ryan. I just took a picture of it tonight. So that's one of the things we're gonna market this week is you can sign up to put the Payson puzzle together. You can have 4 to a team. So when I market it, it's gonna say, you know, who can beat the city council members putting the Payson puzzle together. So it'll be super fun. So that starts at 11. And that'll be at the pavilion. So we have a lot of different things happening. One of the ideas this year to bring in people is I've invited 3 elementary schools in Payson. So they'll take turns and come and sing. So that'll bring in parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles to come and watch them perform. And then in between them, I have bands. So we'll have 2 separate bands. So a lot going on between that time period. So anyway.
Is that we're gonna have buggy rides as well? Is that?
No, in fact, Layton was kind of confused about that. So he'll actually, yeah, he's like, I can only do one thing at a time. So actually it's horseback riding, and those are already full.
Okay.
So, yeah, so he's gonna take 4 different groups out horseback riding, and he'll take 6 horses at a time. But yeah, those filled up real quick. Those are already full, so, okay, thank you.
Sure.
Mayor, council, and public, just wanted to let you know that we had our full inspection with the county health and we passed. I wanted to thank Guy Peterson, who works there as maintenance, Robbie Gard, of course, our city or our pool manager, and Daniel with the facilities department here. They put in a lot of work over the last month to get that up and going this year. So we're also holding lifeguard training as we speak. Actually, we have classes going each night. We hired about 35 new guards this year to add to about 30 returning guards going. Next week, we'll have elementary schools come in for some runs and get ready for the public, and we'll be opening Memorial Weekend. So, thank you.
Just a couple things from the police department. For one, I'd like to thank everybody for their support over the last several weeks of some of the tragic events that's happened. That citizens, all the city employees have been very supportive of the Hoosier family and Terry family. So I just want to say thanks to you. The mayor was involved with the funeral, so thanks to the mayor and all of you that came and showed support. So the police department, we're participating in the torch run on May 30th, not this Thursday, but the end of the month, Thursday, May 30th, we'll be participating in that. So we'll run from our city limits to city limits with a couple of athletes from Special Olympics. So we do that every year. We have set a tentative date for our next Citizens Academy, which will probably start on September 5th. So some of you that didn't make it last time, Brian, this one's yours.
It's so fun. It's an amazing experience.
And your best seller.
It is so awesome.
So yeah, it was fun. So anyway, we're having our officer appreciation lunch for Police Week tomorrow here at the office. So if you're around, stop by. It'll start at 1 o'clock. So thank you.
Chief, what time was that torch run? I missed that. The torch run?
It is at
You know what, I don't know, I'll let you know.
It's out on the counter.
Okay.
I'm glad Deneen come up because it reminded me to talk about the cemetery. You guys probably know, the streets department's been in there and we've torn out a lot of the roads. So we're gonna just ask for your patience on like watering. We're gonna hand water a lot, or Wes is really stressed out. Everyone's working hard to try to keep the cemetery nice and green. It looks really good right now, but with, 10 days of really warm temperatures, we might get some brown spots. So I told them that I would ask you guys to just be patient. We'll do the best we can. The project's moved back a little later than what we thought. We thought we'd be done with the road now, but I think we'll get through. I think it'll be good. But if you hear comments, that's why we're just.
So explain to us, Tracy, a citizen asked me why the sprinklers aren't on, but.
Because we can't water and have it go on the asphalt where they're prepping for asphalt, especially how the property, I guess I'll say leans or slopes, drains. So anything to the west will drain down to the east. And so, but we're working through some, if Kent's not here and he doesn't hear this, we're gonna water when we can. We're gonna water and ask for forgiveness, but it's just not gonna probably be up to what we want, but I think it'll still be really nice.
Some of the problem is delayed is because of weather related as well, because of the water.
Absolutely, yeah, with all the rain and stuff. So it's just been pushed back. It's a great project. It'll look, for the next 20, 30 years, it'll be awesome. The next Memorial Day celebration. So that, couple things on the golf. We did the Carl's tournament, some acronym, KERPA. Yeah, KERPA acronym. Yeah, I don't know. But we did their tournament today, and tomorrow we're doing Mountain View Hospital. So they're doing that. I think it's along with Officer Week. I think it's hospital, nurse, doctor, physician, mayor week, whatever. It's a lot of weeks, but so we're doing that. We're doing that tomorrow, and we're very, very happy with how Memorial Park turned out with the concrete pass. The Parks Department, they've been doing a great job. So thanks to them.
Tracy, I have something for you. So I talked to somebody that's actually living in the RV park while they're remodeling their house. And he said that's the most fantastic place ever, so.
Oh, good, yeah.
He loves it.
I looked today in Memorial Day weekend, there's not a spot. So Brad, this is a call out to Brad to run an officer up there. We run an officer through there about 10 o'clock at night just to remind him of the noise ordinance. But yeah, that's good to hear. We have some new exciting stuff coming there, so thank you.
So we're getting all new roads throughout the entire cemetery?
No. We've already done some, so the far west and kind of the middle, like I'll call it Utah Avenue, the middle one. So we continue to just plug away at it, So it's a great project. It'll look nice by fall. It's just unfortunate it happened during Memorial Day. So
I think the other thing just to mention, in tearing out some of the road and some of the old curb and putting the new curb where it needs to go, some of the sprinkler lines had to be torn and ripped. And some of those broken lines and.
we pretty much have a handle on the sprinkler. I mean, we have that all fixed, but we just can't water like we normally would with these temperatures. So.
And the cemetery residents have been complaining.
Yeah, everyone's dying. No, I won't stop with the,
No, Wes not to worry about it though. No, Wes.
I'll tell Wes to get some sleep.
Yeah, we know that he does the best he can, and that's all we expect.
Okay.
We don't expect him to be something he can't be.
I figured we had so much rain.
That was Teresa's that said that.
I think we're all dressed up, so we have to come up with something to say. So I just wanted to stand up here and say I would be remiss if I didn't mention that John Snellgrove is retiring at the end of this month. Such a valued employee and a part of Payson City and for over 20 years. And we just really appreciate him and all of his efforts and his dedication. I really, on a personal level, just appreciate everything that he has done to help our department and me specifically. So in light of that, I think I put it in my update that we have hired a new building official. His name is Kate Swenson. He's actually been contracted with us for the last 6 months. So that was a really, really advantageous way to go, that we already have somebody on the books and ready to go to help us. But if you have a few minutes to send John a note, I would highly encourage it. Thank you.
Moving on. Go ahead. No, get up there, John. Let's see.
Might as well. So we got this little award today, which is cool. So this is from the Nebo power plant, from the turbine, and they actually with the city of Payson. So we'll leave it in Dave's office, and whenever he retires, I'll steal it, and we'll see. So that's kind of cool. And then we entered into an agreement to buy power from a solar field back around 2020. It's finally commercial operation right now up in northern Utah by Plymouth, and we're having a tour of that, an open house this upcoming Tuesday. I think it's 11. It's either 10 or 11. I'll send it out, and if you want to go, let me know. We went to another one a little while ago, the Navajos, and it was really awesome. I don't know if this one will be quite as cool, but it should be cool. So it's cool to see what you've invested in. It's 4 megawatts, and so that's about 20 acres or so of land that's Payson's using for solar panels. So
Where is it located, the panels?
Plymouth, Utah. So right up on the border, northern border of Utah, by the new core skill facility up there.
Kind where nothing can be built. I just wondered. You're not answering.
I don't think he knows that.
I don't think you know.
Tell everything anywhere.
Say that again. What you just said. I'm going a little deaf, and I was just at a power plant. That's why I had the earplugs in my
Is it
pocket.
isolated where nothing can be built around it?
Oh,
Oh, I thought it was a word.
no, nothing can be built. It's all like alkali.
Well, that's what I was wondering. is-
Yeah, it's fairly bad. Yeah.
That's where you want to set those things.
Yeah. I don't know how, I wonder. So the Navajo one is out in the sun, like clear down south, and I'm wondering how this will all work. We need one in Alaska for the summer, so we can have that full around the clock light. So anyway.
It's too hard to run an extension cord.
Yeah.
If I can't get a water pipeline where I want it, you're not getting an extension cord down.
It's cheaper. Yeah, but if you're interested.
You, what?
I was just curious how much per kilowatt hour the city paying for that one.
It's 3.4 cents a kilowatt hour, so we're overpaying the residents with solar by a long shot, because we can buy this. And it's actually, we're seeing negative pricing the last couple of months during when solar is being produced right now, because there's so much in the west. And so we can actually bring in free power or get paid at times, which is crazy.
One more question, are you doing like a retirement party for John, or?
It's, well, we're honoring him the best way we can.
It's honoring retirement, so we're honoring his wishes, but we are having a little gathering with a small group, and he just didn't want a big retirement
At his request.
celebration, so yeah, we're not doing a public retirement for him.
Thanks. Okay. No more staff, I'm not gonna shut you down if you.
There aren't any more.
Okay, moving on.
Travis
We'll
never,
Travis did.
told him he didn't have to. so now he
Travis.
won't.
Yeah, we'll move on to council reports, starting with council Christian.
All right, you ready, Travis? Here they come. Just kidding. So I drive around the hospital about 3 times every Monday when I take my kids to and from piano, and the roads behind, I mean, they're doing so much work adding on that new medical surgery wing there. We're one of the top 100 hospitals, and that road is probably one of the worst in the city. I don't know if we can maybe reevaluate it and slate it to get resurfaced. Going to the east of the hospital and going to the south of the hospital, west of the hospital and south of the hospital. Pretty rough little road right there. Just
West and south.
yeah,
100 south and
It's both of them. It's just
Yeah.
like just around the hospital. I don't know if it's because I've had big heavy trucks going in and out of there
It's been
over the
like for a
years. And
while.
it's
$1,000.
big heavy roads. They're rough and it's tight and there's parking on either side of it and it just little kids running around. I just thought, you know what, let's just bring it up. If it's number 10 on the list, let's move it to 2 or something. That's
So-
all I'm after.
So Brett, we actually have LTAP with a organization, they run out of Utah State University.
Okay.
Randy Whalen, he's well known around the state, he's done a number of things, but he runs the program now with the students and for very affordable program, they're coming probably in June and they're gonna do an assessment of every road in the city, the roads, the sidewalks, all that, and then they will essentially put together, recommended rehabilitation, repairs, and hopefully come with cost estimates and so that is coming. And so we will have a lot of that information, not just for 1,000 West and First South, but for the entire city.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. The other one is, I was talking with, Dave about, I had retractive bollards that I wanted to put in Main Street. I don't know if they got cut. They're still in? Okay. I just think it would be, I just think that'd be really nice. Not necessarily if they start cutting them, let's leave the ones out on 198 and the others we might be able to get away without, but leaving them in there. Thank you. And then Doug Welton, he kind of hit me up about the flags on the podium. Says, how come we don't have the new Utah State flag on there?
We've got the ability to just pick and choose.
Yeah, I know. And he said, just tell the mayor we want them both up there. So this is me telling you what you do with that.
We have workers on.
Okay.
When they get here.
Well, don't tell him that in advance. Hopefully he doesn't hear this and then I'll just take credit for
There
it.
you go.
Thanks. That's all I have. Keep up the good work.
We're also gonna give you some, maybe some potential designs for a city flag, so we can have a discussion with council, but we're trying to come up with some of those too.
Okay.
Because this is the old one.
We need one. Okay, Council Hill.
Yeah, so, today we had a site visit, put together by EDC Utah to come look at 2 of our, office warehouse buildings, so hopefully that went well. Then also EDC Utah is highlighting Payson on June 14th with all their investors. We're putting together a new video to go with our home adventure video and so to present for that. The National Main Street program, this is national, people from National are gonna be in Payson to see our Main Street on June 12th. And on June 13th, Utah Main Street can have their annual conference here in Payson, so everybody from the whole state will be coming to Payson for Main Street Conference.
You better tell them the contractors they need to get cracking.
They were supposed to be done by then, but they aren't gonna be done.
No.
But they can see what's going on, so I'm not.
Yeah, so the 2 blocks from First South to Third South should.
Jonathan, you need to come up to
You need me to up at the podium? All right.
So you record it.
Sorry, I should have come and did a report.
We're glad you are.
Travis told me, don't get up unless you have to. I'm just kidding.
I can eat that stuff.
I'm just
I've
kidding.
been confined to the box this whole meeting.
So I guess for Public Works Engineering update, Main Street's going really well. They're cooking, they're on top of the schedule. The 2 blocks from First South to Third South are ahead of schedule. They should be done by the middle of June at the late, so those two blocks will be paved and all put back together. There was just a slight delay we had where the Petite Creek crosses Main Street there between First South and Second South. And so we're replacing the culvert that was there because it was collapsing and it created kind of a hump in the road. And so we pulled that out and we've put in some elliptical RCP pipe, and so that'll help with the road profile. It won't have a speed bump kind of a jump anymore. And then obviously it'll be more structurally sound for the longevity. And in addition to that, the northern two blocks of Main Street, they still are on schedule. I don't know if you've been out there, but they've started putting in the colored concrete and the sidewalks are going back in. They're working on the water feature, the utilities are all done. Dominion's finishing up with their meters, and then the covers, the box covers, we'll go over those, and Dominion is now starting on Utah Avenue as well. They're kind of getting in there before, so they can get their old main deactivated before Red Pine has to go in and start digging around it. So they're doing a great job. We really love Red Pine. They've been fantastic to work with. We really lucked out with them, and with the whole bidding situation and everything. But yeah, so things are going well for that project. We're upsizing, we've upsized the water lines coming down from the tank, the two tanks up the Canyon Road. The lines are in, the lines in Riley Drive are in and tested. And so Kent is gonna go through and mill and overlay Riley Drive now, because that's all it was all torn up before. And then Red Pine is also doing that project, but they should be paving the Canyon Road with the final mill and overlay that the county's requiring, and touching up some of the shoulders within the next couple of weeks, so that they'll be done with that. The tank one tank has been cleaned and filled and back in service, and the other one has been cleaned. We're just trying to get it up to level so we can do our bacterial test on that before we can put it back into service. 500 south from the elementary school to the state road, we're replacing the water line there as well. So we've got quite a bit going on utility wise, and so I know they've been working, with the pressurized irrigation stuff, with watering season having started. They were really grinding on getting all that stuff up and running and making sure. I still hear Debbie take phone calls every day from people who turn their stop and waste valve, and they freak out when you get it halfway and it starts spewing water, and they call and tell her it's broken, and but it's good. But yeah, we're doing well. I don't know if anyone has questions about stuff they see that we can help with, but let us know.
Thank you for that. That was great information. Thank you, Don.
So just a couple more things is on, May 23rd at noon. MTech is having a beam signing for the last beam to go up on their steel structure. So if anybody wants to come to that, it's at noon on Thursday, the 23rd. And then just like to thank the police department for their professionalism and everything for the last week. It's been a hard week for everybody, but thank you very much. And for staff, all they've done. And it's been a tough time for everybody. So thank you very much. And then just want to thank John Snellgrove for his work. He's been a professional. Builders love him, and they're gonna miss him because he's just a kind person. So thanks, John.
Thank you. I've got a few, I want to thank the power and the linemen that helped restore power on Mother's Day when it went out to a section of town, and I'm grateful for how speedy they got that back up. So thank you to our good linemen. Thank you to the power department. Sean and I toured the SUVPS power line route, and I'm grateful for Sean's expertise and knowledge and to be part of SUVPS. We're still moving forward to get final bond payment stuff squared away, and so hopefully Sean and Kathy are having those awful conversations about the money to be spent there, but it is needed. We have to improve our power grid. I'm so thankful to the police, and particularly the police officer, the son-in-law of Sergeant Hooser, that is a Payson police officer. Hope he feels our love and support and condolences for this tragedy, this terrible nightmare of a week they've had. Thankful to Chief Spencer, looks like he stepped out, but we toured the fire station, ambulance station, and I was grateful for everything he showed me. And then we do have the Lions Club is having their International Lions Club Conference in Payson this weekend. And they are doing a few things here. I talked to Dave and to Tracy and Carl about some of these things, and thank you guys for your support in this. They are doing a Strides walk for diabetes awareness, and that's going to be Friday, May 17th, this Friday. They're going to meet here at the city center at 3:30 and do a short walk. And then they're also doing a 60s themed dance here at the city center on the 17th. That's from 7:30 to 9, and all of the public's welcome to either the Strides Walk or the 60s themed dance here at the city center. And the International Lions Club is wondering if the city could donate salmon supper tickets for a raffle.
Depends how many they want.
Just two.
I think we can do that, right, Jenny?
Could you get me two tickets, and I'll make sure they make their way to the international.
Well, we're not gonna print any until when?
I'll give you the certificate and then we'll tell you what to do.
Okay.
Excellent.
That comes out of the mayor's allotment.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. The Lions Club does a lot of great charity work to improve community awareness and outreach and service. So this will be a good weekend. It's exciting to have the international conference here in Payson as well. And I think, I still gotta make a plug for Youth City Council. Anyone that has youth from 9th grade up to seniors, this will give them a chance to meet once a month, and we're gonna do tours of government buildings. We're gonna have the city managers come talk to us at the different departments. We're just gonna expose these youth to how important government is and demystify it a little bit for them. And so I'll look forward to you guys' support, and I'm begging you, hey, can you please come give a presentation to our youth council? So just know that's coming. We're gonna get that up and running. We're taking applications right now. So I'm really excited about that. That's everything I have, Mayor.
Do you know about how many are coming to the national conference for the?
So far, they have 48 registered. And all of them are staying in the Payson Hotel. Just so we're aware, yeah.
Thank you for all that information. I would like to chime in on two things. Thankful for the support of the police department, the fire department, all they do for us. They do risk their lives every day. They go out and it is very valuable to us and to them. So appreciate it very, very much. It's wonderful to see the support that the law enforcement community has for each other. And not only that, but the support that we get from the general population. It was just, don't know how anybody keeps a dry eye that was in that procession and all the support from the citizens, spontaneous support that was not organized by anyone in law enforcement community, basically just spontaneous from the citizens. So thank you. Also, I'd like to comment also on John's service for Payson City, 20 years worth of service. I've worked with him as a sergeant in the police department and as a lieutenant in the police department. And working with him as the mayor. So he is definitely a valued employee. He will be missed. So thank you, John.
I have a few things that I want to talk about. First of all, it was amazing to see all the support that the police officers had. And I'm good friends with several of them, and it was after that we went out to eat, and there were officers at Chubby's from Murray, Salt Lake City, all over the place. I even heard that some came from Chicago,
New York.
You guys are truly an amazing brotherhood and sisterhood. And we support you and we love you very much. And along those lines, Ryan and I and Chief Bishop and Jill and Robert had the opportunity to meet with UTA officer and some other officials to address some of the concerns we may have with Frontrunner coming to Payson, and they addressed our concerns, and I have the utmost confidence that they will take care of any issues that may arise. So I thank UTA for that and putting that meeting together. That was a really good meeting.
Jeff, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Jill, thanks
You're
for
part
putting
of
that
who we
meeting
are,
together.
so.
Jeff Paverson, he's a trustee for UTA, so.
And another thing, I had the opportunity to meet with the library board this last week. And we talked about the tentative things on the budget. They were extremely excited about those things. And we've got some great people on the board and some fun things coming up this summer. And the library always has something, but this summer, they're getting involved with a lot of their programs, and then also met with the beautification committee this week. And we've got some great ideas, and yard of the month things are coming up, so be on the lookout for nominations. And I also want to thank our staff. When we have concerns, you guys are right on top of it, and we're really appreciative of all of that, so thank you so much. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
And my wife and I did our survey last night. The Payson survey that went out.
Oh, yeah. Survey.
Good.
Had over 1,400.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
I think that's more than turned up for the election.
Teresa.
So, geez, they pretty much said everything, but I do realize that other cities, Salem, Genola and us went and helped Santa Quinn last Friday. And I really appreciate the Parks Department and all the people that went and helped them, because, I mean, they've got their roads torn up and everything, and I'm just like, wow. But isn't that neat that we live in an area that everybody would come together and help? I mean, not just Payson, but the other little communities around us. I just thought that was really amazing.
And I've talked to many people, that's unique to our community and Utah in general.
Yeah. And ditto to everything else that was said. I was last.
Next time you get a ditto, because I was first.
Okay, you can diddle too.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Moving on to E, action items, a resolution, agreement with the Division of Utah Outdoor Recreation. Dave, you're up again.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, we did receive a grant, and thanks to Brian, I think he spearheaded this, and I think it's, sorry, I'm trying to find my notes, it's $114,000 for trails. And so we are trying to clarify some things with them, but part of this grant is we have an agreement that we need to adopt, so that's in your packet with the resolution. I think it's great to approve that, and we'll still work on them. There's an issue whether it's concrete or asphalt. Our standard's asphalt, but I think if they allow us to do asphalt trails with the grant, we'll get a lot more done than the concrete, because it's a lot more expensive. And, anyway, it should be great. Brian, I don't know if you have anything to say regarding this. You were kind of spearheading the grant.
Oh, it's a lot of it's just to replace the trails around the Maples, Dry Creek, where they're just bad, so we should be able at least to, if we go to asphalt, I bet we'll be able to do most of it. If concrete, we only do about 0.7 miles. So.
When we get grant money, what's the time allotted that we have to complete the project?
And this one's a year and a half.
Are there some places that need concrete as opposed, because I understand that it started shoving away the blacktop.
Yeah, and we talked about this, we had a big discussion this morning about that, whether we need concrete or asphalt. And there might be some places that you want concrete, but a lot of these we thought maybe concrete because the trees were coming up through them. But part of the problem was with these trails that were done, there was no road base, no anything, and we haven't maintained them. So if we do it right, we can probably do asphalt.
Yeah, we met with Weston and we talked about the standards we have. You can do both, but concrete's more in areas like where the water would come over it, stuff like that. So I think if we follow our standards, we could have a good product with asphalt on most of the areas and clean it up. So it was a good grant, and it's we have a portion that's matching. Part of that will be paid through the park tax that we kind of proposed, and we'll find the other part in the budget. And yeah, we have a year and a half to take care of it. We hope to get it done soon.
Are there other grants out there we can apply for?
There's a lot, and we've been getting some.
And we just got one for Fort Bay for $105,000.
I knew that.
And we got a couple, we got one for the rodeo arena, study, feasibility study.
Let's get that in.
Anyway, so yeah, we just need a motion to approve that resolution that approves the agreement with the outdoor recreation.
Okay, if there's any further discussion, council, I'm ready for a motion to stop.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement, the Division of Utah Outdoor Recreation.
I'll second that.
Go ahead, Dan.
If we're seconded.
And seconded.
Okay.
I'll
and
second,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, it's gonna be roll call, starting with Council Wyatt,
Yes.
Council Moss,
Yes.
Council Rowley.
Yes.
Council Beal. Yes. Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries unanimous. Okay, moving on to F, work session, Payson Station Area Plan. Robert, you're up.
You look so nice in your
I would recommend that we move to the DRC room.
Do this, which I don't think anyone would complain about. We actually just wanted to give you a brief update on what's happening. And the real purpose of this is to say, next week we are having an open house from 5 to 7 here in the banquet hall. We're going to be talking about station area plan. We're also going to be talking about Frontrunner South. We'll have both of our consultant teams here to ask questions, and we're hoping that you will provide comments. Let people know, come provide comments about it.
Can we try to sway the people to come?
Yes.
That's what.
So that's why we're having this meeting, is to give you the preview version so you can come with your comments prepared. Yes,
You mind if I say something?
I would love it, trustee.
Jeff Acerson with Utah Transit Authority. I attended a public comment meeting up in Twilla last week. We had UDOT there, we had the Wasatch Regional Front there, we had UTA there, and we had the county there, and we had one person still up.
Oh, goodness.
So the whole reason to have a public comment period is to engage your citizens. And I just encourage you to do that, because it helps us, helps you make better decisions and make sure you're addressing the so anyway.
If we can get 1,400 people to do the survey, we ought to be able to get 100 people.
That's correct.
One of the main concerns here is public safety. So I wonder, is there a way we need to come hang out with us? Would that be advantageous, do you think, Robert?
We could invite, definitely.
Or at very least have Chief Bishop with us, because he met there as well,
Yeah.
when Ann and I was there. I think you put a lot of people's uneasiness.
Oh, and to catch the rest of you up, we actually had a really wonderful opportunity to go to UTA with Councilmember Moss, Councilmember Rowley, last week, and have a really in-depth conversation with UTA's Chief of Police and the General Manager of Frontrunner, and really ask some very poignant questions about safety and about how that will be managed. And like Councilmember Rowley said, it was really satisfying to hear the way that they deal with that, and offered a lot of relief, I thought. And we're in very good hands, and especially the way that our departments partner so well, that UTA knows what our police department is doing, and our police department knows what UTA is doing. And that partnership is really, really evident in the way that we interact with each other. I was really grateful for that.
One more point.
Yes.
Our police were your former police.
Yes.
I mean, that's where they come from. They have a lot of experience, and they've been in your communities, they've worked in your communities, so it's helpful for us because they can engage you in a way that is consistent with what you're doing, so. Good.
First thing we want is to look like a deer in a headlight, and we're not gonna.
Yeah, I think that we are preparing well. And that's a great segue into what we're gonna be talking about. This is a little small, but this is actually at Payson Station areaplan.com. You can go there now, get some information, see maps that will be presented there that night. But this is kind of the preliminary future land use map for the area. What you see outlined here is what we are considering our station area. And over here are the different land uses that are being proposed. It's a little small, I understand that. But let me just go through it really quickly. This blue hatched area is what we're considering our transit-oriented development area. That would be a mixed-use type of zoning that would allow residential and commercial / office uses that you would consistently see near the station, that allows for the most accessibility, easily walkable, and creating that type of vibe that's relying on public transportation.
So is this out by where UVU is gonna be?
Oh, yep, I should have oriented you. Right here is the power plant and the sewer treatment plant. This gray area is the property that UVU has purchased already. We
Is that
are,
gray or brown?
It looks brown to me.
you can say whatever.
Well, I was just wondering, are you colorblind?
I am not colorblind, that's grayish brown.
Just so you know, this is what our consultants have presented to us. We've had some voice in it, but by and large, this is what the consultant has presented to us, right?
Yeah, so we have been working with them for quite some time. With UVU's property here, we have been very cognizant of the fact of access to the train is very, very important for the success of that campus. Right here is where the platform will be. That is placed strategically because of geometry. The amount of space needed for this platform actually will not fit on UVU's site. And so it needs to be on this north side of the Nebo Beltway, which is right here. This is the new interchange that will be happening. But because of this separation, we have been very, very interested in making sure that access for UVU is a really important and paramount thing as we plan for this. So not only vehicular access, but pedestrian as well. And so we are implementing and encouraging several different ways to get to the station. Buses will probably transverse this Nebo Beltway here, or even possibly under here. We're still working with lots of design. We're a long way out, but just making sure that that is very permeable.
Like a straight tram, that'd be real popular.
Yeah, we would rather them be able to just walk straight to it.
Just hop on like a chair.
That would be awesome.
I mean, it'd be adventurous.
We're safer.
Hey, Robert.
Yes.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question? Those roads that kind of curve into the freeway? By those wetlands, up
this
right there. Is there a way to make those go continuous north so we don't kind of lock ourselves into a circle there? That's cute. In a big circle run.
I wanted the grid and I got, that's as good as we got.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that.
Yes, so this radial pattern used to be even more radial. We presented some concerns with that, and created even a little bit better grid system. We anticipate that this will be a little bit different. On MAG's plan, this Nebo Beltway will actually, the intention is for this to seamlessly go into Main Street, and then Main Street becomes a future regional connector that will head north and actually cross Provo Bay and tie into Lakeview Parkway, which is the road to the airport in Provo. It will,
I thought it was supposed to go south to mouth of Spanish Fork Canyon as well.
so in a easterly way, it heads south, crosses Highway 198 down here. Eventually will come up through Elk Ridge, Woodland Hills, and down through Salem and up through Spanish Fork, connecting to Highway 6. So when we say Beltway, we're not kidding.
It'll be good to go around the city.
So that will offer a lot of opportunities and challenges that we will be considering, and we have to take into thought and how that's going to develop and all of those different things. Mayor,
Were you gonna talk a little bit, maybe I'm talking out of turn, hopefully not. The talk that we have had, maybe flipping UVU a little bit, or is that something that's?
and we can have that conversation. So UVU owns this property right now. But we've also had the conversation with UVU and our consultant and PRI, Property Reserves Inc., which is the major landowner out here, which is the real estate arm of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They own the bulk of this property. About the possibility of UVU maybe even coming into this TOD area. They have a lot of property here, but I think everyone can see the advantage of them being close to the station and really integrated into that TOD area and part of the vibrancy of that. Those discussions, I think, will be ongoing into the future, but it would be easy for UVU to transition over to this area. Their campus might look a little different. We don't know all of those answers, but it's definitely been a topic of conversation and continued conversation. Really, it will come down to just negotiations between UVU, PRI, all of that. Yes.
The value of the ground and all that, and then that could be open for others to develop.
Yeah, to that point, having met with UVU, we have a lot of interaction with them. The station is critical to that campus. So they're gonna have to, you can help facilitate that, they're gonna have to work that out. But I know, talking to Val Peterson, he said, we planned our whole movement around transit, and that's critical to them to actually have a campus and have it serviced by a transit element, so.
Yeah.
When's the last time you talked about 2 weeks ago?
So he still has
Oh, yeah.
to move it over to the side.
Well, we talk about that, and, you know, they're open to that. But once again, it's all about dollars and
Well, the
value.
value of the ground, the
Yeah.
value on the west side is not the same as the one on the east side.
Well, and I think that's why, you know, this is a specific color. I'm not going to name that one again.
You mean gray?
Yeah, whatever color that is. But if UVU chooses to go there, then obviously there would be university uses. But if UVU chose not to go there, that could be a really good buffered area that could introduce some transitional uses that would still be highly lucrative and valuable. And we could create value for them on that property. So it would be feasible for them to move there. I think the main point of this whole exercise has been there are a few key players in this, and keeping those relationships strong is the most important part.
Has to be a win-win-win-win.
Yes.
And to the point that came up in the previous discussion, that station doesn't end there.
Right.
We've got to make sure it moves south.
And even
long range, long term.
Yeah, and even in the design, track will be built to accommodate extension under
They've been
the
talking like that was the end of it.
Well, it will be an end of the line for the current period.
But we want to make sure we
Right.
keep connected to MTech as well.
Yeah,
So-
well, I don't know, if they looking to acquire more track south of Red Bridge? Because that's the problem we've had in the past, that's all the farther they own.
Well, that's just, we're looking 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road.
Right.
We want to preserve the corridor. So that option is always available where the growth goes, population expands. To provide that service because we can't continue to build roads if, as we get more density, more population, transit has to be a major element of how we move people as an option. Right. It's not the only option, but it is a major option.
It has to be part of our transportation future.
Yeah.
Right, and when you get double tracking and electric and all that.
More people are gonna want to use it.
faster and
Yep.
easier.
I just noticed we've been talking about the eight south interchange over the top of Red Bridge where the railroad tracks cross, and it's just important to keep that conversation going.
Yeah.
It is.
That needs to be kept.
It's an ongoing conversation.
And the reality is that, I mean, I'm a planner, so I dream big. And riding the train from Salt Lake to St. George has to be reality someday.
Well, what
I
about
think
LA?
that has to be a
It's from
reality.
that high speed,
That's
from
right.
LA to Vegas.
And you will be able to even go faster if you get on the different train and go straight that way.
Yeah.
But front runner, I think, will be more than just front runners.
And one concept that comes from President Adams and UTA and UDOT, and we're all working towards this in Union Pacific, is to avoid those conflicts, those crossings. If you're looking for high speed, frequency, as you plan this, make sure you eliminate conflicts, which means you may have to go up, have it go over or go under or whatever it might be in your planning, because that ultimately will better serve us going into the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Robert, where is the parking for the station? Is that all the gray area around it?
So parking could be here, parking could be here, but parking really could be anywhere that's accessible to the station. That hasn't been specifically pointed out in this plan. We'll get, as UTA moves forward with their planning of where the actual platform is going to be, where the track will swing out just a little bit. We've indicated it on here of the approximate location, but then UTA planners and what they're doing right now with Frontliner South is working on that alignment, working on how many stalls that they're needing, which as an end of the line station serving a broad community, at least 1,000 stalls is what we're planning. And so making sure that that area is included in here.
How big is that area in your black line, square mile wise?
I think that this is approximately 600 acres.
That'd be more than that, though, because the church owns about 1,000, I thought.
Well, yeah, but down
Then you
there,
go down there.
I think they own 800. Yeah.
I thought we were gonna have more commercial there.
so let's move to that.
That's.
Say
Other colors on this map.
Because I have a question.
Okay.
Red.
Okay. So
That'll be
initially, we, as staff, we have always envisioned this area as our regional commercial center. Like if there's an opportunity for regional retail, we have always thought that it would be here. Excellent access, excellent visibility, provides opportunity in a green field. None of this is developed yet, right? And we're getting a new interchange and road to facilitate that type of development. We were surprised initially when our consultant came back and said, based on information that they had, that this is the area that they had slated for commercial development. That consists of about 30 acres.
Just for context, Walmart's about 50 acres.
Yeah.
Around Walmart.
It's gonna even fit half of it. It's even fit the meat department of Costco.
Well, Ms. Boothby wants 20 acres.
I think we need a lot more commercial,
So,
unless there's some cons against it, you tell me.
well, we had a really lengthy discussion, Monday? Is that Monday? Monday with Zion's Public Finance, who did the economic analysis portion of this, and their advisor, the folks that did the analysis, were surprised by this too. And they suggested that all of this orange that's currently slated as high density would turn red for future commercial development. Our consultant had changed this area to create what's called this commercial expansion area. And then at a lot of behest, we've always felt that this node right here this is Arrowhead Trail Road, and this is Nebo Beltway. We always felt that this would be a good commercial node as well. They did put a little bit there, but
That's a gas station.
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably not on the
Small gas.
scale that we would expect it.
Why
to.
wouldn't you have your commercial all the way along your road where they can get off? I mean, and up there. I just, like, this kind of shocked me when I'm just like, I thought we were gonna have a lot of commercial there.
Well, so having commercial is really, really important, making sure that it's in the right place. Doing nodal commercial after years and years and years of planning and data analysis and things like that, having long strips of commercial sometimes doesn't work out very
Well, no,
well.
you kind of like it all in one little area.
You like
but
it to be nodal like this.
I would like a
So
lot more
node,
commercial,
Node,
red.
and then down here at the intersection of Highway 198 and Nebo Beltway, another node of commercial development, which we have already indicated on our agenda. So these are some of the things that we have talked with our consultants about. We're hoping to see some of those changes before it comes to you at council. But these are some of the opportunities that you have at this upcoming open house to make comments and to say, is this the correct place for this? So,
Maybe a couple things on the Zion Public Finance, which we had a meeting with Monday. When they did their study, how much area to have, they just did a concentric circles around it. And they said, okay, here's how much retail you need because here's the population growth. One thing they didn't take into account how much population just gonna be in this spot. They didn't have that. Plus, they didn't do our whole trade area, which goes down to Delta and Fillmore. They had like 50,000 people in 10 years for this whole area. But if you do that, we're talking about a couple of 100,000 people for the trade area. So they didn't take that into account. But when you start taking that into account, you're trying to get Sam's Club and Winco and maybe Shields. I know the church says they want to, like a Shields type thing. You're talking at least a couple hundred, or at least 100 acres. Well, up in Spanish Fork, they have like 300 acres in all that area. So
Even the church can see that there's not enough commercial there.
I think we did not have to pay for this.
Yeah, who did this for
UTA
us?
is paying for this study.
Okay.
And
Do you have any influence?
Boy, get curious.
No, I mean, that's why you have this public comment. That's
Right.
why you start with a plan.
Mhm.
And then you try to make sure you have data as you move things. To make sure that you don't plan for something because it's what you want. Which is what you want,
right,
but you need to make sure that your desires and vision is achievable or manageable.
Correct.
I guess another thing, Robert, for me to add that people probably
You have to live with it.
That's
that
right.
probably don't know is there's a company that's bought 400 acres from this property up to the Benjamin interchange. And they want to annex into the city and they're looking at thousands of housetops there too. So that'll add
Wow.
to this population.
Yeah, we need to have more commercial, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We need-
Absolutely.
Who's the
But we gotta show why.
So
Here, again, we paid for it, but
it's our plan.
we didn't drive the plan.
No.
It's our plan.
That was a little tongue in cheek when they missed the mark, in my opinion. That's what I was saying about that. So we talk about the UTA, the front runner and all of that. And I know that like my mother, for instance, totally does not want to be the end of the line. She's like, that's what brings in the homeless people and things like that. And I'm like, is that really a problem or is it?
That's what we talked about
You missed her.
last week.
That's why they have the UTA police.
That's why we talked to them.
Some of us
And
have so much going on. It is.
I'm not to teach school, right?
so we asked them that. We asked them that, and that was one of our main concerns. That and crime and drugs and all that stuff. And one comment that their chief said was the crime around the UTA station will mirror the crime in the city. And we don't have a lot of that stuff here. And so they'll take care of it and we'll take care of it. They'll work together. It really did address our concerns. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and, Chief Taylor said that, you know, they want to increase the officers they have in Utah County up to 10. And, you know, a shift
More.
consists of
More than that.
more, yeah, and, some guys even on the train, the whole shift, other guys hanging on the platform, driving on the trucks, try to be more proactive, policing rather than reactive. And then, yeah, just like Ann said, that the station absorbs the crime of the area. And so this is why this is so important. And Robert said this a million times, that we have a blank slate to work with. So this is so important we get this right. But we have more control to get there.
And not make it.
And there were the same concerns when we had UTA bus time come down,
Right.
that would bring people, and you just have to be prepared for it.
And the police gave us and Zach gave us suggestions of what not to have. We don't want to have places that are comfortable to hang out on the platform, right? We don't want grass, we don't want trees.
We want spiky plants.
Pergolas. We want to make sure, make it the hottest, most uncomfortable place you can, so they get on the train.
Well, I'm just wondering if the last train north is always free.
Couple things, Brett, on that is number one, it's front runner, so.
It's
yeah,
not track.
Tracks is mainly that, and the second thing is they usually ride to where their service is at. We're small enough right now that we don't have the homeless services.
Right.
Maybe in 50 years we may, but.
And the county has adopted a different way of doing that.
And Provo does, and Provo initially had some issues, but they've cleared up most of those.
Well, and our city has a zero tolerance policy already. And that's what helps. If they know that they can't get away with things, they won't come.
Well, and you've got a school, I mean, they're not gonna come to the school because the school's gonna have their own police officers there. I mean, you look at what's around it, I just don't see a place for them to be. We're not California, we're not gonna let them park out there on our commercial properties.
Because we already don't let them.
Yes.
If I can say just a couple more things, and thank you for meeting with our police chief, because they're great.
Mhm.
I ride the system. I'm on front runner daily. I go up and down. And occasionally you might have a person that looks like they're finding a place to go. But we have police officers there. We're initiating what we call an ambassador program. We're doing that on tracks because there is a homeless concern there. It is free in that area. And what you said is we mimic what the problem is in the city. Well, Salt Lake has that concern. It's not a transit problem, it's a city problem.
Right.
And so we work together as a team, but these ambassadors, what they're doing is they're on the system, we just started that. And they have access to all the resources, mental health, housing, you know, all of that, where as we see them, we get them to those elements of health, which is going to help mitigate that concern that exists. And, you know, we will partner with you, we will work with you, because it's in our best interest, your best interest, to make sure we have safe, reliable service for your citizens.
We're not New York subway system.
We're not Salt Lake.
We will never be that.
No, we'll never be there.
Another thing they mentioned is on a parking lot of our size, they have at least 30 cameras. To be placed throughout the parking lot that are watched 24/7 by police and their own dispatch too. We have an amazing camera system.
Yeah, it was a really productive and eye-opening meeting to me. And we can make that arrangement for any council member that would like to do that. Absolutely, that's not a problem.
We'll trust you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I want to shift gears just slightly. You'll notice on here that there are a lot of colors on this map, and
Very nicely put.
yeah, yes. I've learned my lesson. Anything that's related to yellow or orange is actually relating to residential.
Okay.
So there's a lot of residential on this map. we have always preached the gospel of put density where it's most appropriate. And this is our opportunity to really have a good discussion about that. On this side of the station area plan where we're kind of adjacent to the platform and things like that. We're considering densities and this is gonna be something important for you, like 50 units to the acre minimum.
That's dense.
That's a lot of density.
That is the TOD and.
That is
HRT zone.
HTRZ.
Whatever.
All of that can be
eligible
told.
today. So it allows a lot of opportunities for those who would be developing this area to provide a lot of housing in close proximity to transit and interchange where we have always talked about that's where it would be best.
It looks like Provo's starting to do that by their location.
Yeah,
That's why we need
exactly.
to increase the
A
commercial.
lot more tax base.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we'll
Because that's where the police will be going.
making sure that we provide adequate tax base, retail is gonna be important for that. We had a conversation when this was first shown to us. There were some numbers assigned to this, and this yellow says low density residential, and then the orange is mid density residential, and then this high density residential. So they were assuming low density as 15 to 25.
That's high density to us.
That's
For us.
right. There's a long. Let me finish.
This is like
Good chance.
density that's in Solid County. This is putting that density right there.
Right,
Wow.
yes. This is a lot
Yeah.
of people
Mostly solid.
in one spot. We did a quick calculation. That could be about 9,000 people. We then had a different discussion with the major landowner, PRI, who felt that that was a little bit
I
aggressive.
thought it was like 3,500 that we promised them.
Yes, in a previous plan, they have been promised a lot of units.
That's units, that's not population though.
Yeah, and this is, they're talking units to 9,000.
Yeah, I know, but if you take 3,500 units and times that by 5.
You're taking 9,000 units.
Well, not 9,000 units.
That's 9,000 people.
It was about 5,000.
5,000 units.
35 is high. 3,500 is high.
There are a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. And those are discussions that are gonna be very, very important to you as council, because this is going to become the new gateway to our city. And we anticipate, and those numbers that we're talking about, that's over the course of
It's not tomorrow.
20 years, right? Like, this is not, they're gonna put a shovel in the ground tomorrow. There's a lot of things that have to come into place. And I also say that without being naive, that we're allowing a certain amount of density and things like that. We've also always preached the gospel of if we allow a lot of density where it makes the most sense, then that gives us the opportunity to keep other areas low density, where it doesn't make sense, where infrastructure costs would be enormously expensive.
Sewer lines are way cheaper there.
Yeah, there's some really good access to utilities here.
I think there's a power plant, there's a
So-
sewer plant, water's a little bit of ways away,
But those are things that you're going to want to consider as we move forward with this.
So Robert, one of the things I look at this is, I see high density around the tracks. And on the west side of the interstate, I can even envision 50 units per acre, which is a lot.
That's a lot of.
But if you look at all the orange on the west or the east side of I-15 at 50 units per acre, that just doesn't make sense to me.
That's way too.
That needs to all be commercial. How do you take care of that many people if you don't have enough commercial to do it? I mean, where's our commercial gonna go if it doesn't go
Yeah, there's
there?
no place else in Payson, that's what I tell them. There's no
Because
place
if we
else in
put
Payson.
50, if we put 50 units to the acre there, the crime will come.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's proportionate to the numbers.
Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, please.
I thought you said you only had one more. and you-
No, I said I have two. Well, this will be the last time I ask, but I have two questions. On that note, so between us and Salem, right there on right on that side, are we shooting ourselves in the foot by not having a frontage road where we could have commercial all the way along that to Benjamin exit?
Good point. Why don't we have a frontage road on there?
You wouldn't be able to have one on the west side because of the tracks train or the front.
I don't know that I love the frontage road, like when you're talking Springville. I hate that one that doesn't have any like commercial area between it. I think move it back enough that you can get a row of commercial between your frontage and your freeway. That to me personally, but yeah, I think
I'm
there needs to
thinking,
be,
you got.
and there's not one there that runs parallel.
Right.
Yeah, you got all those
I think
things
we're
over
gonna
there. in
miss a lot
Springville.
of commercial.
Yeah, I do too.
Opportunity if we don't have a
Frontage road there.
frontage road, right?
That's why they
Plus
finally
it's
put
a
that
public-
hatched piece there, because I was telling them we need the frontage along the interstate there.
So potentially this could continue.
We need a frontage.
this way.
Yeah,
I
And you're
think we have to
undecided.
also consider the environmental issues that are out there.
The
There's a
wetlands.
creek
Won't be.
that's very wet. That can all be overcome, obviously, but
it's gonna give us that rural feel.
having some open
What's
space
that
is
belt
really
coming up?
important.
And my second question is. So is this basically, I mean, we're dumping two good sized neighborhoods into a horseshoe right there? That does not go anywhere.
This one,
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
That will need to go out to Arrowhead Trail. Go back to up towards the east. Right?
Isn't there a way out of that one?
Yeah, there should be.
The only way out of that is so,
Yeah,
it's right up above.
Right there where that pink
Yeah.
triangle trapezoid shape is, we need a road out,
Yeah.
right there. That road needs to go out.
That's a public school.
Cause that's already got.
Oh, that, they just put that in there.
I know.
They just threw it in.
But that's what it says.
so they're anticipating that that could possibly be a good location for a public school, given its access.
Well, 9,000 people there, yeah, you're gonna need a school.
You're gonna need schools,
And churches.
you're gonna
We
need,
need to
Yeah.
go back to the road.
There are quite a few roads right there through that.
I think they need to, I agree with you.
They need to go back to the drawing board, add the frontage road, get rid of the high density,
Add
get,
more
add more
commercial,
commercial,
a lot more
a
commercial.
lot. It's.
I'd like to
this
see
is-
what 50 units to the
This is
acre
like the
look
rough
like.
draft.
What is it that they're envisioning?
So-
That's what I'd like.
Drive by
I mean, you can
15
do a
of
really
them.
nice.
Part of what you're asking for, though, this study is not going to answer.
No,
Like, this is not that in depth.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't mind if somebody just pulled up something that shows me.
What about Provo?
and I think that's something that we could look into.
How high would that be?
It depends. It depends on what the size of the units are. It depends on how many what size of plot we're looking at. Density is division. Okay, it's the number of units divided by the amount of land. And so there are many, many different ways that that density could look. And that's one of my remaining questions is, density doesn't scare me if I know what it's looking like, if I know what it's functioning as, if it has all of the elements that make it successful.
You just have to go drive up in Salt Lake, drive up I-15, see all the new apartment buildings that are coming
Just
in.
looking.
Take front runner,
You can find lots of good examples of density and you can
All
find
there.
lots of bad examples.
but there are new ones.
You will
going.
always find what you're looking for. If you want bad examples of it, I can show you those. If you want good examples of it, I can show you those.
So.
But I'm talking about the new places that are being built along both those corridors. They are huge apartment buildings.
Yeah, but
Like,
I don't
they're
know
way
what the
tall.
density is. That's the
Correct.
trick. That's the part.
Like over there in Provo.
Where
like
the
go
old
over the-
butcher,
Yeah.
the old
Those are
butcher
like
shop
way
was right
high.
around 15. I mean, are those 50 or are those 150? Are they 20 units to the acre? That's what I.
Well, they're definitely not 20.
They're not,
to the acre.
definitely not.
No,
They're
we need
smaller.
more.
But it depends on what size. If they're 5-bedroom apartments.
Right.
Then they are 20 units to the acre. If they're, the studio apartments, it'd be 100.
You can go online and
It's not
find
a
out.
house, it's not an apartment.
You can go online and find out,
How many apartments do you know? have
and they're
five
typically
bedrooms?
not.
I'm just telling you, that's why I'm
I
asking.
think the most I've
what
ever seen
is-
is 3.
You're getting harassed by
Robert,
the
just-
attorney.
Okay.
I'll take care of everything. You know? So Robert, I have a question for you.
All right, we're gonna go with trustee Acerson, then
It might
here,
be
then there.
helpful to get you the kind of information you're trying to get. Laura Hanson with the state of Utah, they did that, you know, let's grow, how does Utah grow? They did a lot of interactive, dynamic, as you add density, what does that look like? So it's dynamic and you can see what that looks like. Obviously, it's a model, but at least it shows you how transportation works, how the commercial works. As you add density, what does it look like? So I would suggest, and I can get you that link. Gary, you can go and play with that and look at that and get a little bit of a feel. It's not 100% the way it is, but at least gives you an idea how that deals with transportation and how you have to have commercial and housing and how that all works. So that could be helpful.
That's very helpful.
So a couple of things. One, and this is a whole new frontier for us because we're thinking out in the future when we're trying to think here, little Payson, you know, so it's a whole different thing. But for the TOD area, are there certain requirements that are kind of to get front runner, to have it come to us that we kind of have to put into place to have that happen?
Yes.
I
thought that
the HTRZs are required. That's what the legislature is trying to provide the mechanism through which cities like Payson, like Lehigh, like everyone else, can take advantage of funding that helps offset the infrastructure cost to accommodate that growth. They see it coming, and they're just trying to provide a mechanism. Do you have to do it? No. It's an option. It's an opportunity for you to look at that and see if it works in the area of what you're trying to develop.
Yeah.
But
But it also has to make sense for the
Yeah,
train
I
to
mean,
be coming.
there are
through that
certain
different-
elements of that yeah, you're gonna have to accommodate it.
Right, because if we don't accommodate
It's
what
like
you
any-
want,
it's like
it's not gonna
anything.
come down here, right?
Well, it will. I mean, it will eventually. It may not be in your lifetime, but if the growth comes, it has to.
Right.
It's gonna happen.
But if we have a plan,
If you have a plan, you can help facilitate it.
come soon.
It's your plan. You embrace it. And
And you stick,
collectively, we try to make it work.
you have to stick to the plan.
Well, I think Provo is a prime example. Front Runner came and then they had to build to it. We're gonna build to it so that it comes. It's a blank slate. It's just something we have to remember. And so it doesn't look ideal right now, but it will look better.
Think about your power system. You had a plan. What are you having to do right now?
Build
more generators. Buy more stuff. Yeah, you are. You're gonna have to do it to provide the service and to try to flatten that cost. Because, anyway.
That was our sewer plant.
One thing about the power or the crime that's kind of interesting, it's just a little anecdotal thing, but in Provo, the Amtrak hits there and it goes to Salt Lake. And I went to Rockies game in Colorado and Denver. And I come back and the whole train's full of people that got free tickets from Denver and sent our way. And it was scary, and the police were waiting for some by the time we got there, a few of the guys had got pretty crazy, and they were already arrested in Provo, in that little train area. But I kind of think that happens where cities are sending people back for, and you guys are here is on the end.
Oh,
and
sure
so
ruined my
I don't
good
think
idea.
It's not gonna be as bad, but yeah, they're doing what you're doing, but they're doing it in a bigger sense from, you know, there's big homeless encampment in Denver, and they're trying to send them back to California. And so.
And then they
I
stop
think,
here.
and that's, and they get hit and they can't even they're getting in trouble by the time they hit Provo, but it's different here in Payson. It shouldn't be on the end of the, you know, it's a different spot, I guess. is what I'd say. And then I have a Salt Lake and then they
Robert,
go
I
up.
have a question. Sorry to ask so late in the game, but what is the difference between Payson Station Area Plan and Front Runner South meeting? It's all one and the same, or?
Kind of one and the same.
Oh.
Payson Station Area Plan is mostly doing land use around the station. The Front Runner South is actually looking at the alignment and the specifics of what the station would actually need.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Rob, I want to make sure that as we're planning this, our TOD it also becomes a destination, not just for college kids, but also just for people to come down and shop and hang out and then go back home if they don't live here.
Spend their money there.
And also, I just want to make sure we work in contingencies that if things shift enough in the education market, that UVU does not in fact put a campus here, that we have good use for that land as well.
Or if they come here and then they decide to not be here anymore, then it transitions to easily.
College, maybe M could buy it up.
I bet they don't use as much acreage with the kind of model they're going to now, unless they get changed a lot of that. I don't know what you think, yeah, but.
It's hard to say. I mean, honestly, UVU has been pushing online education. I don't like that. I taught for 10 years at UVU. And the interaction is, to me, if you're really gonna educate someone, you need that kind of interaction, because when I was online, half the students didn't even show up. Or they turned off their camera and you're teaching it. Who you teaching? You know, it's like.
Well, there's some subjects that will work there and others just
Yeah,
will not.
some will work, others will not.
Right.
Because
Make
one
sure
thing
we
you
have
gotta,
adequate
you gotta
retail
consider, if you
commercial.
want commercial, you have to have density. Because when we met with Zions, if you don't have the density, it doesn't pan out according to their model.
But I also don't want to end up looking like Salt Lake.
Density,
with
we're
all those
still,
high
as Utahns, we like our cars, and that's where you said 50 units to the acre, and I'm like, okay, so where are they going to put 2.4 vehicles per unit? Because we still want our cars. And so,
We'll become Tokyo.
yeah, well, and if we get to the point where nobody actually drives their car and they all use public transit, I think it's a great shift, but so instead of 3 cars, they have 1, because somebody can ride front runner. And that's the goal and that's the objective, but we still struggle in Utah, and every time we have a development come in and they're like, no, we're pushing it this way, then they end up in the streets and they end up all over, and you just don't have anywhere to park.
And maybe sometimes some of this gets developed in 20 years from now, we'll kind of see where that is.
Well, so, and you said 1,000 stalls, are we building a parking garage for UTA, or is it all flat?
It could, more than likely, it would become a parking garage.
Yeah.
And go up with that.
Over
It'd be a
time.
shared
Over time.
facility, so whatever commercial or shopping or whatever you have there, you would share that.
And I'm not opposed to a parking garage like that, and we charge people. You pay $3 to $5 to go in there, because I know it gets expensive. Where you $20,000 a stall for a parking garage?
It's a concern with parking garage, then we do facilitate a
40,000.
place for transients to hang out. It's a sheltered place, and so that'd have to be heavily policed if it was.
One of the
Make on my car wash.
One of the things that I will say is a real advantage is that you really only have one landowner that is interested in developing this. And they have a very vested interest in making sure that their development is successful, safe, and profitable. And some of those things that detract from safe, vibrant, profitable are all the things that we're talking about. And so I think that there's a vested interest in making sure that they're going to be vested in making sure that their development
We'll have
is
an hour.
addressing all of those things that.
You couldn't ask for a
really
better
are.
partner. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I want it to look pretty.
So there are also some good things about this.
Oh, sorry.
We have made sure to plan for a lot of open space, and there will even be more than this based on the requirements that we have in our code, that these are areas that we anticipate making sure that there are corridors of open space and green space and things like that. Planning for active transportation has been kind of one of the forefronts of this whole process, to Brett's point of making it easier for people to be less dependent on cars. But the reality is that we will always have them, right? Like that is a reality.
Within the Western United States, yeah.
Well,
We're not California.
and most places really do in America, you depend on that for something, for one form or another. But we provide opportunities to make that an alternative.
can we incentivize maybe when they start talking a piece of land for a new police station or a piece of land for a new library? Those conversations may not be bad ones to have at this juncture. And kind of like some of those areas, maybe that'd be a good place.
You know, one thing that I have been very impressed with throughout this whole process, PRI has been very adamant about being a community partner. And they recognize that they're bringing density, they're bringing all of these things, but they're also being a partner in our community. And I think that we should be a good partner. And we should act in a partnership. So those things that we need that are as a result of increased density or increased commercial activity and things like that. Those are the conversations that we have.
One way we know they're good partners, because they're donating land.
Yeah, they're already donating
New
a bunch of
interstate.
land to make this possible.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully we haven't
More than what they thought in the first place.
That was
overstepped there. They said we had so many years to do it and they blew it.
This is a little bit of additional transportation network, just indicating, these colors indicating what type of roads these are. To Anne's point of sticking to the plan is really important. The other thing is that these are living documents and that we implement the best that we can, and then if there are changes that need to be made, then we can make it with good data.
So what's a boulevard? 7 lanes? 5 lanes?
5 lanes.
5 lanes.
5 lanes is a boulevard. So is the
State
artery
put that
7 lanes then? Or is it still 5?
That can be a variety of those things.
Because one thing, so Robert had put in the budget that you guys will adopt here soon to do a study, a specific plan. Because this study is not addressing all that.
No.
So the road sizes, the traffic, the utilities, all that will be done when we do a specific plan, which will also affect some of the zoning and land use.
Right. I just was listed on there. That's why I was kind of asking.
Because right now, this is kind of a conceptual level. There's not a lot of engineering obviously going into it.
No. But we anticipate that this, will be 5 lanes, but very large. I mean, there's a lot of right of way for the Nebo Beltway. Because it's going to be a beltway and be able to serve a lot of people in many different ways.
If you're gonna be a nexus going this way and this way, off the interstate, it's gonna be a major, that's why you look at more retail too, because you're
Serving a lot of
traffic,
people.
into that area.
I would just say, make sure that your recommendations are based on good data and then realistic. Because it's one thing to say, we want 300 acres of commercial development. Well, are we going to wait 300 years to make that feasible?
Just can't be on opinion.
So that's really what I wanted to present to you tonight, and just make a plug to please participate in the process. We have that opportunity. We're still waiting for the text of the plan. Right now, we just have the maps, or just a couple of them, really. And so that process will continue to take place, and you'll be seeing more of this in the coming weeks and months. So that's something to look forward to. I think this is generational planning that you are involved in right now. So,
I hope.
yes.
The way things are growing, I sometimes question. The economy takes a switch back, and interest rates drop, it could come faster.
Good.
Okay, that's the end.
No, I have one thing.
No.
Yes. Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Second.
There, all in favor?
Aye.